What's up, everybody? My name is Brad and welcome back to the channel, and today we're here for a book review. Gasp, I know, a book review. It's shocking. I haven't done a book review for quite a long time, and I've been very much slacking in the book review department, but we're here to turn that around today. We're here for a book review, and we're here to talk specifically about Saltblood by T.C. Parker. Public outrage and outcry. It's something that's in constant rotation in the news media, on social media these days. It's something very hard to escape from. It seems like no matter where you look, someone is mad or upset about something. Some of it is justifiable, some of it probably isn't. I guess that really all depends on your opinion, and you know what's to be said about opinions, right? Now imagine living in a world, in a society where you could be exiled away on a remote prison island and found guilty of a crime not based on your actions, but on your actions inciting reactions of public anger, outrage, disgust, and hatred. That seems like it would be a pretty scary world to live in to me. Seems like it'd be one more step towards control and one more freedom seemingly stripped away. You know, all those videos of the Karens out there, they would probably be imprisoned. But on the flip side of that, you'd have people maybe that are protesting for their rights, for whatever that might be. Maybe they would be imprisoned as well. It seems like a very sharp and fine edge to walk along that sword. But this is the semi-dystopian type setting that we find ourselves in Saltblood. Now that might sound like the beginnings of an awesome science fiction novel, which this is not. This novel, Saltblood, it's 100% horror, drawing upon folklore and mythology. But I will say that while reading this, I was sort of reminded of the movie Minority Report with Tom Cruise. And honestly, this book is nothing like Minority Report at all. I think the connection my mind was trying to make there was that they both deal with themes of control in some way, shape, or form. Parker does something here with Saltblood that I think is actually really hard to pull off. She definitely crafts a story, an atmosphere, and an environment that feels not only isolated, but expansive simultaneously. This book, it just drips with isolation. Not only are the prisoners confined within the boundaries of Salt Rock, this dreary, remote island out in the Northern Isles of Scotland, but said island is also completely engulfed and surrounded by a huge Faraday cage that completely cuts off all types of electronic communication with the outside world. On the flip side, the mystery, conspiracy, and folklore aspects of the story really expanded outwards into something much grander in scope that penetrates through that engulfing Faraday cage and out past those rocky shorelines. Saltblood feels much bigger than it should based on the location the majority of the story takes place, with Parker weaving together this complex narrative tapestry that maybe shouldn't work, but is gracefully executed into a riveting tale. I said earlier that this is 100% a horror novel, but I haven't really touched upon what those horrors are yet. Well, other than the horror of having your life completely turned upside down, being imprisoned out on a desolate rock out in the middle of the ocean, cut off from the rest of the outside world. So the prisoners aren't the only inhabitants living, if you can call it living, here on Salt Rock. There are natives that reside here as well. And as our protagonist Robin soon discovers, they aren't too friendly towards outsiders. There's something about these brutish, eerily quiet, horse-riding islanders that seems a bit off. Maybe even a bit cultish in a way. And on top of that, there's something out there roaming around in the darkness along the beaches outside the cabins with these heavy, thunderous footsteps. Is it man, or is it something more monstrous than that? Something more ancient and evil, something that maybe has Salt Rock in its grip. I absolutely love the folklore and mythology that Parker drew from and pulled into Saltblood. I'm a big, huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd. I've been playing D&D for 15, 20 something years, so I'm familiar with a lot of monsters and creatures because D&D also pulls a lot from folklore and mythology. But what Parker introduces here was completely new and fresh to me, something I had never encountered before. You know, something I really, really appreciated. Without giving too much away, it was something that was nightmarishly grisly and would be utterly terrifying to encounter in the hellishly surging waters around the beaches of Salt Rock. It brought a uniqueness and nuance that wasn't your typical folk horror experience. A rich and surprisingly sprawling narrative laced with isolation, grotesque evil, and myth. Saltblood by T.C. Parker, it seamlessly blends social commentary with folklore, all told through the bloodied lens of a horror novel. This was my first T.C. Parker read. Since then, I have read her horror western novella, Salvation Spring. I can definitely say with confidence I am a fan of T.C. Parker and her work, and I will be very much interested and excited for anything she has coming out in the future. It was a blast. I gave it 5 stars. If you are into folklore, mythology, isolation, island type stories, definitely check it out. Again, this has been my 5-star review of Saltblood by T.C. Parker. Thank you all for spending your time with me today. Again, my name is Brad, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.